All right, today we are still in Hebrews chapter 11, but instead of continuing to plug away through the different verses, we're going to pause for just a little bit and take a look at the guy mentioned in Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 4. So jump on in, let's find out who it is. Let's check out what his life tells us. Welcome to the Equipped Disciple channel. My name is Rick McClatchey. I will be your host. We are here to be and to make disciples of Jesus, and we do that through daily devos, through Sunday sermons, and through other discipleship resources. We are here to equip you. All right, welcome in. Here we are. Here we are. We are jumping in to a little section about who in the world was this Abel guy. A profile of faith from the Hall of Faith, Hebrews chapter 11. We're jumping in and checking it out little by little. And it just felt like, you know what, let's not rush through the Hall of Faith. I'm not saying we're going to do a profile video on every single person, but Abel is definitely one of the ones that jumps out to me a little bit. And so we're going to read what Hebrews 11 has to say about him in verse 4, and then we're going to check out his origin story in Genesis chapter 4, and we're going to see what happened there. And I think you'll find it to be pretty interesting, pretty uplifting, pretty encouraging, pretty strengthening. Let's jump right in and let's check it out. Hebrews 11 and verse 4. By faith, Abel offered to God a better sacrifice than Cain did. By faith, he was approved as a righteous man because God approved his gifts, and even though he is dead, he still speaks through his faith. Wow. Okay. So there's some authority here. I mean, Abel is not one to be messed with. What made him so great? Where did he come from? What was his story? What was he all about? So let's go ahead and check out the next section in Genesis chapter 4. We're going to pick it up at the end of verse 2 there. Now Abel became a shepherd of flocks, but Cain worked the ground. So Abel was the younger son of the two. His older brother Cain, he was the firstborn. He worked the land. So verse 3, in the course of time, Cain presented some of the land's produce as an offering to the Lord. In the course of time, Cain presented some of the land's produce as an offering to the Lord. And Abel also presented an offering, some of the firstborn of his flock and their fat portions. The Lord had regard for Abel and his offering. Continuing on in verse 5, but he did not have regard for Cain and his offering. Cain was furious and he began to look despondent. He looked despondent. Then the Lord said to Cain, why are you furious? And why do you look despondent? If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. So interesting things going on here that we just need to take into consideration. And I want to go back to our working definition from Hebrews chapter 1, Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 1. And so faith is the substance, the evidence of things hoped for, the substance of things not seen. Faith is behaving like you believe that what God says is actually true. So let's take that in the context of Cain and Abel. And how does that play out? Abel was certainly not saved by works. He was saved because of his faith in what God said was true. And then he acted accordingly. What do you mean by that? Well, he saw his parents after they had been expelled from the garden and heard the stories. He had had the word of God delivered to him through Adam and Eve, because Adam and Eve were going to be faithful parents to raise up their kids in the fear and the admonition of the Lord. And Abel listened to it and took it to heart and then executed the plan accordingly. Cain, on the other hand, heard the same stories, heard the same principles, And yet he chose to do it his way. He chose to offer the things from the garden, the things that were his, the work of his hands, he brought to the Lord. Versus Abel taking from the flock the firstborn, the unblemished, the pure, the fat portions. Like he was giving the best of the best of the best. It's like two different profiles of how to come to God. Are you going to come to God on his terms? Are you going to do what he says? Or are you going to put together your own little package plan? The Cain, I can do it my way, not the highway kind of a plan. It did not work out well for Cain. It didn't work out well for Cain in a number of ways, but especially because he chose to take out that despondency, that depression, that irritation, and he took it out and he ended Abel's life. Got to be the first one in the whole Bible to commit a capital crime. So what was so fantastic about Abel? Well, it's pretty simple. He heard the word of the Lord and he followed it. He obeyed it. He did what it said. He surrendered his will to the will of God. He said, yes, Lord, I know that it's costly. I know that it's hard. I know that it's messy. But I know that it's the way that you have ordained this to be, so I'm going to do it your way. And I love the fact that it resulted in a legacy being left. If you want to remember what we're talking about, let's jump back a couple slides here. Verse 4, though he is dead, the very last line there, though he is dead, he still speaks through his faith. Though he is dead, he still speaks through his faith. When we live a life of obedience, when we live a life of faith and confidence in God, and following after him and doing things his way, that is when we get to leave a legacy that impacts future generations and inspires other people to live lives of faith. So it's not just about you. It's not just about whether you're accepted. It's about what kind of a deposit, what kind of a legacy, what kind of a story is going to be told about you in the future. And all it takes is surrender to the plan of the Lord. All it takes is faithful obedience, responding to what God says. So I hope you're encouraged today. I hope you're really challenged by that today. So with that, a big hearty God bless you. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Hey, if you're getting value out of these videos, if you could just make sure you hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel. YouTube is suggesting a video right about here for you to check out. So go ahead and check out the next video.